Hello, hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Thank you for joining me. My name is Courtney. I am one of the teen librarians at the Addison Public Library, in which I sit. This is the Addison Public Library's Twitch channel, and this is Book Buffet. This is when we get to talk about books, about a particular theme, and all that good nonsense. Now, if you will notice, I am solo today. Normally we have another librarian here with us, maybe Rachel or Matt, or, a whole slew of other folks that like to roam these halls. We've got such a great community of librarians. However, it is also summertime, and if you've known anything about libraries, summer is a very busy moment at libraries. So it's going to be a little bit different with Book Buffet going forward for at least the next few weeks or so. We're going to see a little bit more solo ones. They might end up being a little bit shorter of videos. We are also going to be a little bit weird because our building is currently under renovations. If you've not been seeing any of those, well, it's been a wild ride. So sometimes our locations are going to change, or I might have to do a cancellation real quick just because there might not be space available. But we're doing our very best to keep our renovation on schedule and on time, and to get it done as quickly as we can and provide the best services to everybody. So just be patient with us. All right, so let's just go rolling on into the books, because why not? If you are watching, hello, welcome. Say hello in the chat. It'd be good to see you. And if you have any thoughts or commentaries or things about any of the books, I would love to chat with you about them. I have brought 10 books, all representation style. I will say that all of these books, as June is Pride Month, they all do have a lot of rainbow representation. Some of them are very heavy on that representation, and others are characters are rainbow represented, but there's also a lot of different types of representation from different cultures to different disabilities, and the whole slew of everything. So I found a lot of different things, and honestly, while looking for books on this list, I have found books that I am certainly planning to add to my TBR. So let us get started, and dropping in the chat a link about our in the chat, dropping in a link to a list on our catalog. If you're watching this on our YouTube, it'll be down in the description below, and you can follow that link, and all of the books that I've talked about, as well as all the other books that we've talked about in our Twitch streams, are on that list. So you can very easily snag those. Most of them, all of them the library has available to you, so in varying different ways. So let's get started. Why not? Okay, I've been talking about this book to ever since I found out about this book. This is one that is available on our ebook collection. We have it as an ebook and an e-audiobook. This is Let Them Stare. This is by Jonathan Van Ness and Julie Murphy. So Jonathan Van Ness, if you are aware, is one of the Queer Eyes. And then Julie Murphy wrote Dumplin'. So very, very established author, and also a pretty established person within the queer community as Jonathan Van Ness. So, I think most people know about Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, as well as how it just arrived and everything. So this is a story that I really want to read this. It sounds hysterical. So this is about Sully, who is an 18-year-old gender nonconforming person who lives in Hearst, Pennsylvania, so small town Pennsylvania. They got a fashion internship in the big city. They're trying so desperately to get out of town, so much so that they're doing whatever they can to afford this internship. They sold their car. They're just ready to go, and then the internship falls through, and they have no money, no car, it's just awful. So they go thrifting, and they find a vintage bag, a bag that is so rare and so impressive that this is a bag that should be in a museum. And if they just manage to get it appraised, then they're going to make bank, and they're going to be able to move to the city and get all their dreams come true. And the only problem is, it turns out that this purse is haunted by a ghost named Rufus, who was a drag performer in the 50s. Right there. We're good. That sounds so good, doesn't it? So now, Sully's whole entire goal is, one, help Rufus to move on because they were murdered, supposedly murdered. They don't know how they died, so we're guessing it's murder. And so they're trying to help Rufus to move on by solving their death, so that then Sully can sell the bag, because nobody is going to purchase a haunted ghost bag. And the whole entire plan is to sell this bag. So in order to do that, we gotta solve a ghost murder. So it sounds very fun, very wild, just an active romp throughout time. So I was with all of these books. I also looked up some reviews for some people who absolutely love the books that we've talked about, and I pulled some quotes. So this is by somebody named Angie. These are all Goodreads reviews. And Angie says, "Infinity stars. I loved this. Ghost story, non-binary main character, small town Pennsylvania, young adult rom-com, and I know not everyone enjoys some of those elements, but ignore those biases because this book is delightful." So there you have it. It just sounds like an absolutely fun time. There's a little bit of romance. There's a little bit of jumping throughout history. It just sounds really good times. Also, there's a T-Rex that's dressed in drag on the cover. It's just fun. I'm going to go for it. The next book that I'm going to talk about is one that I have talked about on Book Buffet before. It is one of my personal favorite ones. So this is Legends and Lattes. This is a cozy fantasy. There's a smidgen of romance, but only enough to technically count that there's romance exists. It's not the main focus on this entire thing at all, but it's just very much it just happens. So this is about Viv, who is this character right here. She is an orc. She was part of a adventuring company, and she's just tired of fighting for a living. It's dangerous work. She doesn't want to do it. And recently she found out about this thing called coffee. Have you heard of it? She wants to go to this big city, and she wants to open a coffee shop, except that nobody in this world has heard of coffee before. It's a gnomish drink, and it's very cultural. But she wants to open up this place, and she is convinced that everyone is going to just absolutely fall in love with coffee. And that's the book. It's her finding a place to open up her shop, building it up, meeting Tandri, who is a tiefling, who is going to be her business partner. They also meet Cal, who is, I think, a hobgoblin who is very gruff, and people don't trust him because he's a hobgoblin, but he helps them out with building things. And also Thimble, who is this mousekin, who a mouse person, who is a savant at baking and creates things that is basically this world's invention of biscotti and also cinnamon rolls. And it's just cute. What I like about cozy fantasies, these are my favorite genre right now, is that the problems are small. I mean, they're big problems, but they're everyday problems, and they're accomplishable problems. It's not we must overthrow the government type of things, or we must survive the apocalypse things. It's, I want to build a store, but people don't know what this is. So I'm going to make samples and try and build up a clientele, and we're having trouble with getting supplies, or I have coffee, but this guy over here, he doesn't like hot things. So, how do we get how do we do that? Maybe we'll make iced coffee, stuff like that. It's problems where it's problem happens, solution happens. And there's something so comforting about that. So the review on this is from someone named Chai, which is a very aptly appropriately named reviewer. So this person says, "I wish I could inhabit this book forever." And I agree. Legends and Lattes is a comfort read version of drinking warm coffee on a long winter night. And I would absolutely agree. It's a short book overall. It goes very, very quickly. The problems are solved incredibly quickly and in delightful ways. I love them. There is also the author, who is Travis Baldry, has written a second in this series, but it's actually the prequel of this, so you actually get to learn more about Viv's background on that. So I love it. Please read. They're so good. Okay, so shifting slightly over, we still have some fantasy tastes in this regard. This is actually a series of books. I also very much love these as well. So there is, this is the Montague sibling trilogy. There are 3 books. Yes, they are very chonky, but absolutely worth your time. So the first book is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. Then we go The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. And then The Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwrecks. So if you can't tell, there's a theme there. Each one of the books really focuses oh, hi Itchy, welcome. Good to see you again. I'm assuming you were saying that you love Legends and Lattes, because you should. So The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, all of this series, each book highlights a different sibling. There are 3 of them, thus 3 books, but the siblings show up in all of them. Well, sort of. So this first book, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, follows Monty as the main one. He is the heir to the fortune. His father is in high society, but Monty has pretty much done whatever he can to just ruin his reputation. He has gone to all of the finest boarding schools, and I mean all of them, because he has managed to get himself kicked out of all of them. And his father's like, you know what? We're done. I'm absolutely fed up with this. You're going to stop all of this behavior with philandering, with drinking, with gambling. You're going to stop it. I will give you 1 year to get your act together. You can go on this grand tour trip, which was something that happened in the 1700s around about, where people would go and travel for a year all around the country and all around Europe and whatnot. And during that time, you can be as ridiculous as you want. But when you come back, you're going to get it together, you're going to marry a woman, and you are going to have children, and you are going to be the heir to the fortune, and, run everything. Monty is just like, that all sounds the worst. Because he is absolutely in love with his best friend, Percy, who he is pulling along on this trip, and he's just planning to spend the whole entire time drinking and partying and flirting, and then that goes incredibly well in any way, shape, or form. There is 100% a case of mistaken identity. They're being hunted, and there's a massive chase across continents. His sister is pulled along with this, and she absolutely is not into any of the same things that he is into. But throughout this entire story, it is a story of there's so much that I can talk about this. I just absolutely love it. This is a book that shows a lot of representation. So Monty himself is bi, but he also has massively low self-esteem and incredibly self-destructive tendencies. And through this book, he learns a lot about himself, and he grows up in a lot of ways. Percy has epilepsy, which is not something that you see a lot of times showing up. And in response to that, there's a lot of representation with that, where it's a chronic illness, and how it it's not something that's detrimental, to a person. One of the reviewers I thought was really on target with this one. This person's name is Elle. Says, you have no idea how rare it is for canonically ill or disabled or neuroatypical people to be treated as whole, to be treated as real. This book really explores the fact that Percy doesn't want to be cured. He just wants to be treated like a full person. And there's a great thing about that. The second book follows along with their sister. This is Felicity, and she is absolutely autistic coded and very much an aro ace representation. So aromantic, asexual. And I love her so much. And she is somebody who challenges gender roles in this world, in this time frame. There is like women are expected to do very specific things, and she's like, I want to be a doctor. I have the knowledge, I have the capabilities, I want to be a doctor, but nobody is going to educate her and nobody's going to accept her as a medical professional. And then the last one is about Adrian, who suffers from anxiety attacks. And his two older siblings have kind of like rejected the family, and he's kind of just left to bear the weight of all of this, and his story is joining in with them and them going off. Now, I did say that there was a taste of fantasy. These all read like historical fiction. However, there's magic in here, but nobody really knows that it actually exists, type of a thing. Like there's like magic treasure, there's sea dragons, things like that. But like they crop up in, suddenly it's just like, boom, they're there. And you didn't realize that it's sort of like the world is unknown and mysterious in its ways. There's so many things that we haven't discovered. Turns out we haven't discovered that there are magical things in the world, and they show up in these, and it's so fun. So if you like your adventures crossing the seas, crossing countries, running from criminals, being chased, finding yourself type of stories, these are the ones for you. So I really love them. I count them all as one because, they're all great. The audiobooks are fantastic. So if you're really liking audiobooks, those are the ones to go for. Okay, next up, let's go with a historical line on some things. Yeah, let's do this. So this is Blood Debts. This is where do we have this? We have this in fantasy, and honestly, we should. So this is a story where it is set in New Orleans. So in this world, magic is absolutely a thing. And this is a story that bounces a little bit between 30 years ago in New Orleans, when there was a massive time of unrest. And in particular, there was sort of like a magic council, and then a magical ruling hierarchy, and like a queen who was ruling the magical realm of things. And 30 years ago was the time of a massive magical massacre, the biggest one in history, and the queen was dethroned. Lots of drama. 30 years later, we are in current day. It is now the 30-year anniversary of that massacre, and we have our characters, who is Clement and Christina, so Clem and Chris. They are 16-year-old, they are twins, and they are heirs to that magical throne that is not available to them. Now, they are currently dealing with a lot of issues. Chris, used to be a very skilled magical practitioner. However, she cast a spell that killed her own father, and she's like, I can't do this anymore, and she has completely removed herself from magic. Her twin brother, Clem, through the grief of losing their father, he's kind of latched onto magic as a lifeline, and uses it to distract himself. So their father has died, they're grieving their father, and their mother is currently ill, but it turns out that she's not actually ill, she is cursed. And somebody has cursed her, and now these two, they're the ones who are next. So they have to figure out who is attacking them, how to survive. They have to come together, and through the drama that everything has happened, they have become estranged from each other. So they have to come together, they have to rebuild trust in each other, and they have to solve a 30-year-old murder that sparked off that magical massacre. So this is pretty dark, pretty heavy, but a very fun read. It's more of an urban fantasy, so it's like a modern urban fantasy. Which, that we don't have too many of those, so that's kind of fun. So the reviewer for this one, his name is Toya, and they say, I can't even begin to describe all of the emotions that I went through while reading this book. I absolutely loved Clem and Chris, even when they were making the dumbest of decisions. Which is absolutely fair. I find that sometimes there's stories where characters make choices that you just can absolutely enrage you, but the important thing is still finding them absolutely endearing and reading on, when wanting to read on past those bad choices. So this is, yeah, certainly a darker fantasy if that's your kind of take on things. But it's got like that historical twist of like going back and forth between time and trying to figure out like what happened before and how it's affecting us now. In that case too, we have only this beautiful moment. This is by Abdi Nazaman. So this is a story. I'm actually just going to read this case, or the inside jacket, because it does it so well. So in 2019, Maud is an out gay teen living in Los Angeles and his distant father, Saeed. When Maud gets the news that his grandfather in Iran is dying, he accompanies his dad to Tehran, where the revelation of family secrets will force Maud into a new understanding of his history, his culture, and himself. In 1978, Saeed, his father, is an engineering student with a promising future ahead of him in Tehran. But when his parents discover his involvement in the country's burgeoning revolution, they send him to safety in America, a country Saeed despises. And even worse, he's forced to live with the American grandmother he never knew existed. But in 1939, Bobby, the son of a calculating Hollywood stage mother, lands a coveted MGM studio contract with the fairy tale world of glamour he's thrust into has a dark side. Set against the backdrop of Tehran and Los Angeles, this sweeping tale of intergenerational trauma and love is an ode to the fragile bonds of family and the hidden secrets of history and all the beautiful moments that make us who we are today. So this is a story that bounces between 1939, 1978, and 2019. There's a lot of story here to be told. Admittedly, this is in our young adult section, but personally, I wouldn't have put it in young adults simply because I don't find a lot of young adults to like this sort of like generational bouncing thing. I think it's going to have like a much better appeal for a little bit older of a crew, but that doesn't mean that it's not appropriate in any way. So this review, I also thought kind of summed it up very nicely. This is by Meraki. So they say 3 boys on the cusp of adulthood in 1939, in 1978, and 2019. Their lives inextricably linked, each with a link to the US and Iran, each falling in love, each searching for their roots, and each finding out family secrets, a family marked by tragedy and connected by love. So there's definitely some strong themes there. So if these are like the stories that you like, that's a great one to go for. Okay, so still going on the history line, but I found 2 books, coincidentally very similar, but I found them individually, so give me some breaks here. We have... So this is a graphic novel. This is The Worst Ronin. It is a graphic novel. There's some very cool illustrations in there. I'm not going to flip too far forward, otherwise, spoilers. From what I was looking into this one, it is a kind of a mix of a bit of fantasy, a bit of like current day technology because they're cell phones, and in like more of a like mythological, historical Japanese setting. Because there are samurai and Ronin. So this is about Chihiro, who is this one over here. She is constantly on her phone. Her dad is a famous samurai instructor, and he wants her to be to kind of like take up the family legacy, but she's like constantly on her phone and constantly watching videos and following along on her favorite idol and famous person, who is this person over here, that is Tetsuo Nakano. So she is the first woman to get into the very famous Kaisi Academy, who trains the best samurai. So Chihiro's dad, this one here, he is the instructor for one of these academies, and he gets conscripted into the army and he has to go away and fight. And this leads into an opportunity for Chihiro to work with Tatsuo. And they are going to go and rescue a village from being attacked by a murderous demon. So she's going and she's like, this is going to be the best. I'm going to be with my hero. It's going to be amazing. And then she very quickly finds out that Tetsuo is not the person that she thinks she is. Tetsuo is rude, foul-mouthed, is often drunk, very much against the samurai code. She has turned away from the samurai way and is working as a mercenary, which is very much, don't do that. And now they have to work together. So there's just the extreme disappointment that Chihiro's dealing with, along with just this gruff character, because they still need to complete this mission. They want to save these people, and they have to figure out their differences and work through them and save this village. It's a lot of fun. It's, there's a lot of fantasy elements. There's battles, there's fights, there's, if you like this kind of vibe, it's a really good opportunity to do that. This reviewer named Haley says, no notes, amazing, thrilling, great world building and character development, lots of blood and revenge. Yep. Did I pick that review for the yep? Yep. I sure did. The one that I'm connecting that one up to is Kindling, which that's such a good cover. This is a cover, every so often you find a cover where you're just like, I'm going to sit there and stare at this for a while, because the more you look at it, just the more you're going to find. So this is a fantasy as well. This is by Tracy Chi, and this is a standalone story, so you don't have to worry about series on this one. It's self-sufficient. So if you like movies like Seven Samurai and The Magnificent Seven, this is the one for you. When I was researching this one, made me want to watch those movies. So there we go. So this is a world where magic is prevalent to a degree. And in fact, war was waged by using soldiers who were teenagers, but who were very skilled and proficient in a very particular deadly kind of magic. And those soldiers, those teenage soldiers, were called kindling. And war resulted in the death of many young lives. So much so that when the war finally ended, simply being a kindling became illegal. The magic was illegal, use of these soldiers was illegal, all of it. So suddenly, you have this group of 7 teenagers who were kindling, who were these soldiers, who are just kind of abandoned. They no longer have a purpose. The magic and the skills that they have, all illegal. They're not supposed to use them. Their weapons that they have, which were specialty weapons, those have now become relics. And people are trying to collect them. So they're kind of being hunted for those weaponry. And now they're just cast adrift and they don't know where to go. There's nowhere that they belong to. They're kind of just expected to just fade away. And so they band together and they're trying to figure it all out. And they come across a village that is under threat. This village is being attacked. And they decide that they are going to fight one last battle, one last fight to save this village. And throughout all of that, they are going to find themselves, figure out who they are individually as well as a group and where they fit in the world now. This is genuinely, it is gut-wrenching. It is introspective. You have 7 soldiers who are searching for a place to find out the future in which they find, and they're looking for peace. And it goes and switches between 7 different points of view. So this is a book that you're going to get different points of view on them. And it'll say at the top of each chapter, like, who it was. But these are very easy to identify who is speaking. They're all very distinctly different. This review that I have pulled is from somebody named Abigail, and they say, this book ruined my life. It was perfect, completely perfect. So everything, hello, good to see you, Green Vault Line, glad you're here. So this is a book that if you want something that is going to hit you to your core, something that you're going to cry about, a lot of the reviews were saying, read this with a box of tissues. But yeah, it looks really good. This is on my to-read list for sure. And also those movies. I'm going to add those to the list too. So we'll see how they go. All right, we got a few more to go through. All right, let's go dark. We'll keep on dark. So this is The Honeys. It is not The Honeys. It's just The Honeys. This is by Ryan DeSala. This is a horror novel, okay? So if you like your spooky thrillers and your psychological monsters, this is the one for you, which means I'm not reading it because that's not my kind of book. So this is a story about Mars, who is a gender fluid individual, goes by he, him, currently, at least in this book. His twin sister, Carolina, tragically dies, and he is absolutely devastated. Mars is devastated because Carolina, they used to be incredibly close, but lately she has been going to this Aspen Conservatory Summer Academy. So it's this program away from home where there is cabins where, all sorts of things happen. Not really sure, but it's very prestigious. And ever since Caroline has been going to this place, she's been really distancing herself from her family and from Mars in particular. Because Mars is... Because they're very gender fluid, their family kind of like pushes them, well, not really pushes, but just like does not place them into the limelight because they're very politically motivated and actively engaged with a lot of things, and they're kind of just like, maybe we won't have you around for all these things. So after his sister dies, he's like, you know what, I need to go to this place. I'm going to take my sister's place. I need to feel connected to her. I need to see what she has been experiencing. Like, I miss her so much. Maybe this place was so important to her. I want to go. So Mars gets there, and it's like a fairy tale. It's beautiful. It's just absolutely wonderful. Everything's like all folksy and charming, and it's like meadows and flowers and sunshine, and there's all these like festivals, and there's like, it's beautiful, and like there's so much to like look forward to, but there's also a lot of old-fashioned gender roles and also a very oddly toxic environment around preparing for all of these festivals and happenings. And there's sort of like this overhanging like just gloom in a way, like there's like a cloud behind the sun type of a thing. And so Mars meets up with his sister's friends who were all in this cabin, and they are known as the Honeys because they raise honeybees. There's beehives behind their cabin, and they're in charge of taking care of those. So Mars is like, these people are gorgeous, they're perfect, and also I'm pretty sure they were involved in my sister's death. There's just something wrong, something looming in the background of things. And as Mars spends more time here, memories start to falter. There's something oppressive happening here, and it feels as though Mars is getting hunted. Something is actively pursuing them, and it's like there's brainwashing going on here as well. So if you're like, doesn't this sound like Midsummer? Yes it does. The reviewer for this one is Melanie, and they say, this was so unexpectedly haunting in all the right ways. I truly knew from the first chapter that this was going to be a new favorite. The atmosphere, the mystery, the main character, all perfection. So if you like your psychological thrillers, if you like that sort of like darkness behind a pretty face type of a thing, these are a great story for you. Also, like, this cover is pretty great. Like, very unsuspecting. I don't think most people who would just see you reading this would immediately think, that is a scary, scary book. Which also works, you know? All right, I guess let's go from one murder mystery to another. This is One Killer Problem, and this is by Justine Priscilla Winans. This is a story about Gigi, right there. Gigi went to detention yet again and did not realize that when they were in detention, that detention was actually going to get them out of a lot of trouble, because while there, she and a bunch of her friends who were there all get an email instructing her to go to Mr. Ford's room, and who is her favorite teacher. This is the math teacher. And when they get there, they find Mr. Ford laying there in a pool of blood. And this sparks off a massive mystery. Now, Gigi's friends with the school's mystery club. She and all of those friends are very interested in figuring out those mysteries, and they are determined to figure out who the murderer is, because it is being established that this is an accident, but there are things that are not lining up. There is somebody who did this. So now this is a dangerous hunt of fending off the murderer, because turns out murderers don't want to be caught. So now that they are tracking down this murderer, that murderer is looking to follow up and cover their tracks. So they are fending off this murderer while Gigi is also dealing with flare-ups of her IBS and now dealing with her arch nemesis, who before they hated each other, but somehow, suddenly, this arch nemesis decides to turn flirtatious. What's that about? It is wry, it is funny, it's an ode to cozy mysteries, and it's about found families and fighting for those that you love. Lee is our little reviewer for today, and they say, murder mystery, distinctive and well fleshed out characters, seemingly endless cutesy cat references, and fresh as in never been done before. LOL worthy IBS representation to the mix. What else could you possibly need? Admittedly, I don't think that I've ever read a book or heard of a book where a character has IBS and it is represented. There was another review that I read that they said I would have given this 5 stars if the character didn't talk about pooping themselves so often. But IBS, that's the fact. It's just how it goes. So this one sounds like just a fun mystery romp overall. So it should be a good time. All right, the last one that I'm going to talk about, this is a realistic fiction, and yeah, it's sort of like a coming-of-age story. So this is The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School by Sonora Reyes. It's got some humor to this one for sure. So this is the debut novel, so that means that her first, about a queer Mexican-American girl navigating Catholic school while falling in love and learning to celebrate her true self. So, honestly, the blurb on the inside cover, which, love it, really says the story. So this is 16-year-old Yamilet Flores prefers to be known for her killer eyeliner and not for being the only Mexican kid at her new, mostly white, very rich Catholic school. But at least there's no one here who knows that she's gay. And Yami intends to keep it that way. After being outed by her crush and ex-best friend before transferring to Slayton Catholic, Yami has new priorities. Keep her brother out of trouble, make her mom proud, and, most importantly, don't fall in love. Granted, she's never been great at any of those things, but that's the problem for future Yami. The thing is, it's hard to fake being straight when Bo, the only openly queer girl at school, is so annoyingly perfect and smart and talented and cute, so cute. Either way, Yami isn't going to make the same mistake again. If word got back to her mom, she would face a lot worse than rejection, so she'll have to start asking, WWSGD, what would a straight girl do? So this is, Yami is the narrator on this one. And it's captivating, it's hilarious, she's vulnerable, very honest in this regard. So the review on this one is Aiden Thomas, who actually is an author that we've talked about before. There's a lot of rainbow representation within Aiden's books as well. So Aiden says, this is a story about bravery, love, and so much more. It's about discovering what makes you feel most at home within yourself and the comfort that comes with sharing those parts with the people that you love, even if it's scary. So this is certainly like a coming-of-age story. There are people who would directly represent or who would relate to this book, and it holds no punches. So there we go. All right, so those are 10 I'm counting that one series as one singular one, but those are 10 books with a whole lot of representation all within them. Hopefully you have found something that sounds good to you, and if not, hey, good news. Libraries have a bunch of books for a bunch of different things, and you don't have to read any of these. You can read anything that you want. So I'll not drop that list of books. There we go. All right, dropping in the chat again, there is the link that goes to the list, to our catalog. I will be adding all of these books to that link. And yeah, hope you found a good read today, or at least had ideas for some good stories that you might want to be going towards. If any of these sound kind of good to you, there's a lot of books out there that are just like them, and a lot of books that are nothing like them. That's kind of the beauty of books. All right, everyone. I hope you all had a good time. Thank you so much for joining me. It was really good seeing all of you in the chat. And I will see you all next week. Have a great time. Bye-bye.